From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Will Alvin Bragg really do it? By that, I mean, will he really indict Donald Trump for improper accounting of a hush money payment to an alleged mistress? Well, that seems to be the case, as leaks from the Manhattan DA's office suggest the former president could be charged as early as this week. Mr. Trump says it will happen Tuesday, though it doesn't appear as if he has been told that by the district attorney. In any case, the Trump political circus continues. What does it mean as a matter of law and for the 2024 election? I'm Paul Gigot, editorial page editor of the Wall Street Journal, here with my distinguished colleagues, if they don't mind that adjective. Bill McGurn, very distinguished. Hello, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Paul.
And Kim Strassel, super excellent distinguished. How are you?
Wow. Hi.
All right. Good to have you both here. So the charge looks like it's going to be improper accounting for a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, $130,000, made in 2016 to keep her from going public with word of an affair, alleged affair with Trump in 2006. Trump denies ever having had such an affair. And this is usually a misdemeanor in New York, but maybe bumped up to a felony on the theory that the money was meant to cover up a campaign finance violation because the payment was an assist, or so it is claimed, to Trump's presidential campaign. One more witness apparently is going to appear before the grand jury looking at evidence in this case, a lawyer for Trump, according to news reports. So charges are still uncertain, though the leaks suggest Bragg has decided. Bill, the feds looked at this and didn't indict. The FEC, Federal Election Commission, looked at it and didn't say it was a violation. What do you make of this as a matter of law?
Well, there's two issues, as you say, on the substance. It's so flimsy. Campaign violation, years after it happened, it just looks like the latest attempt to keep Donald Trump in the news. And also, I think the long term is kind of a loser for Trump, even if he's acquitted. Like, all it takes will be one juror, right? But I think they'll have gotten the mileage out of it. They have kept Trump in the news.
You mean the Democrats charging?
Because it seems the only campaign they have is against Donald Trump. And so they're always going to talk about him. I think they're going to campaign against Trump, even if someone else is a nominee. And this looks like it. So if he's acquitted later and it doesn't stick, no one remembers. And as you say, it's a long line of things, the FBI, 2 failed impeachments, other prosecutors looking at this stuff. It's just the latest, and there may be more down the road.
Kim, Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, is apparently a key witness in this case. He's, of course, an admitted felon. That will bear on his credibility as a witness. Bill says 7 years later, this is being resurrected. I guess the question is, why is Alvin Bragg doing this now? He's a local district attorney. Why now?
Yeah, not only is Cohen a convicted felon, it's noteworthy that one of the charges for which he was convicted was for perjury. So that's always the kind of guy you want to go put up in front of a jury, as a guy who's already been to jail for not being truthful. And I'd also just point out, to build on what Bill said, it's so rare for prosecutors to actually charge campaign finance violations as felony prosecutions. We do have lots of campaign finance violations out there, but most of the time they are adjudicated in such a way that you pay a fine. It's just not common to do something like this. And I think you have to assume that Bragg is succumbing to pressure. The history here is that his office had engaged in a long investigation as well of the finances related to the Trump organization. In the end, it was decided that that too would be tenuous. And so he decided not to file those charges. And afterward, 2 of the prosecutors who worked on his team resigned in protest. One of them wrote a book that was highly critical of the decision not to indict or go after the Trump organization. And there was a lot of criticism on the left. And it feels very much here, Paul, as though he is succumbing to all of that pressure and fury, and maybe is not really thinking about what kind of political furies he could be unleashing at a national level.
Yeah, none of this, at least from my point of view, the two of you may disagree, but none of this, in my view, is an attempt to apologize for or defend what appear to be a payment to Stormy Daniels. It's sleazy business. It's hardly honorable stuff. The question is, in my mind, whether it is, in fact, a criminal, and certainly whether it is felonious as opposed to a misdemeanor. And third, whether or not this is the kind of thing you want to charge a former president and a current candidate for president on. Because inherently, any kind of charge like this against a former president, which would be the first in American history, it's a long history, Bill, 230-some years that this happens. This is the sort of thing that happens in Bolivia or Brazil or any number of countries where they become familiar with using the prosecutorial power against political opponents. This hasn't been used here in the United States before, and this is opening up, I think, a Pandora's box of complications, implications, political animosities, and precedents that we don't really know where this will go. So in my view, what you want to do is if you're a prosecutor and you're going to bring some charges against a former president, current candidate, you better make sure it's a really serious legal violation. And then you better make sure there's not a chance that a judge is going to throw it out. There's not a chance that you're going to lose in court.
Yeah. And again, only one juror and you could lose in court. I don't think they think of those things. I'll add another reason, just purely self-interest, why they shouldn't bring the charge. I think it's just going to feed the Republicans in the House, the hearings on everything. I mean, I understand that in some of the cases, they're looking at real violations, but I don't think that's what we want our legislatures to do, spend their time going after other political decisions all the time. I think that, too, it should be for a big reason that everyone understands. And they're going to feed Republican cries to go after someone. I think if I were Hunter Biden, I wouldn't be for this because it's just going to encourage the Republicans.
So your point is that the Republicans in the House will respond to this by, number one, they're going to look at Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan attorney. And number two, they're going to double down on going after Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. That's,
right.
Okay. All right. Let's listen to Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, react to the potential indictment.
The DOJ didn't bring the case. The Federal District of New York didn't bring the case. The previous prosecutor in the district there in Manhattan didn't bring the case. Mr. Bragg himself didn't want to bring the case, but then he got pressured, I think, from the left. And I would say this, the one thing that has changed, the one thing that I think has changed his mind is President Trump announced he was going to run for president again. And suddenly here they go. Now they're coming after him for some alleged bookkeeping error. You've got to be kidding me. So we want to know what kind of federal involvement may have taken place here.
Jim Jordan with another land speed record for speaking, just a miraculous ability to speak so quickly and keep it all understandable. I'm incapable of doing that. But what do you make of this idea they could haul Alvin Bragg before a prosecutor, before the committee?
Yeah, so they sent out a letter already. It went out on Monday demanding that he agree to come in and give testimony. And it's actually in front of 3 different committees. And Mr. Jordan is just one. It's unclear who exactly is going to take lead here. But I don't see Bragg doing this. I don't think he'll agree to. There's obviously no upside to do so. Probably put forward any number of reasons for why he can't be compelled potentially to do so. But this is Republicans, as Bill was saying, already deciding that they're going to pile on. And this is, I think, the notable thing to me, Paul, is, just how much you are already seeing members of Congress fully engaged in this. A number of Democrats who are claiming that this is redolent of January 6th, arguing that Trump is now inciting violence by asking people to protest this move. One comment that really made me laugh, I saw Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, saying that Trump was doing this to keep himself in the news. And that just made me laugh out loud, because the people that are obviously doing this are the Democrats who want to keep Trump in the news because they see some political advantage to doing so.
Just to make clear, Donald Trump on Saturday issued a statement on, I think it was Truth Social, his social media site he favors, denouncing the word of the potential prosecution, claiming his innocence, claiming it is a witch hunt, and saying his supporters should protest that. And that's what Nancy Pelosi was reacting to. Let's listen to House Speaker Kevin McCarthy react to Donald Trump's statement.
I don't think people should protest this, no. And I think President Trump, if you talk to him, he doesn't believe that either. I mean, I think the thing that you may misinterpret when President Trump talks, when someone says that they can protest, he would probably be referring to my tweet, educate people about what's going on. He's not talking in a harmful way, and nobody should. Nobody should harm one another in this, and this is why you should really make law equal, because if that was the case, nothing would happen here. And that is what has to transpire.
Bill, Kevin McCarthy walking a line he doesn't support. He has real questions about the prosecution if it goes ahead. On the other hand, I think he's very smart to say, please don't protest this. Let the legal system work its will.
Yeah, it points to what the Democrats have done. They've hurled a giant mud ball at Republicans, and all the Republicans now have to talk about Donald Trump in this and take out a position, debate among themselves, rather than talk about President Biden's policies or their proposals and so forth. They're all going to be debating Trump, and that's going to become the issue in the Republican Party. So again, I think Democrats like that. The only thing they have is running against Donald Trump. God forbid someone else, they won't know what to do.